Okay, so season's done, Donington's done. For the last 4 rounds, I've been running the JPB-V3 pistons. I'll try and put a picture up now of them fitted. In that, I was like, I'll give you an honest feedback of how good they are, if they work, if they don't work, if there's any change, and it's hard to do unless you kind of have data to back it up. Now, unless you even running them back to back on a same day with a stock piston, it'd be hard to know if they're better, purely because if you ride in the morning with a stock piston and then you ride in the afternoon with a JP piston, you know, the temperature could be better, tyre wear could be better, track could be a lot better, you might have clear traffic, blah 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 blah. So it's hard to put it in perspective of times, but as we've kind of gone through the rounds, we've realised that you can prove brake pad wear with them. So I was like, I'll measure it every round, before, after, take them out, have a look, measure the depths across the pad, because a lot of people struggle with brake pad wear. So every round I've kept a log of how many miles I've done, what lap times I was doing, or my PB for there, what the wear was, and yeah, so it is, to be fair, it is quite mental. I'll try, I've got it all written down from all the rounds. I don't know if you can see that, it's probably all backwards. And I've kept the pads outside, inside, I've kept them in exactly the same place for 4 rounds. And I haven't done anything apart from clean the caliper, took them out, measured them, I put them back in. That is it. I haven't touched them at all. So I mean, you can still see they got a fair bit of meat on, and I haven't swapped them across. That is, on my kid's life, the same pads in the same side of the calipers for 4 rounds, and we're doing good lap time. So like Brands Indy 48.4s, Alton 145, but that was endurance, so that's pretty steady. Cadwell 133.8 and Donington GP 136, which we've just come back from, which is arguably probably got the last half of the lap is the hardest 3 braking corners or in a row of any circuit in the UK. So over the 4 rounds I've done 894 miles total, and over them 4 rounds I've only used 0.84. I haven't even used a millimetre of pad over 4 rounds, and that is ridiculous. It's even wear across the pads. Like I said, I've got them in front. It's not like I'm hiding them. They are identical wear. There's no slope wear on them. I know a lot of people are going out and they're coming in and their pads are like wearing on the piss and all sorts. But to be fair, they're wearing even. Like it is. You almost, I wouldn't. If someone said to me after nearly 1,000 miles they won't even use a millimetre of pad wear. Oh, these are the SBS dual sintered as well. So they are the expensive ones. But as you can see, after 4 rounds I've not even used a millimetre. So you could keep going with them. I reckon that you could run them for another 2 rounds if you wanted. Or 2 or 3 rounds. So I'm going to try, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and put a picture up, maybe in the corner of me over, maybe I'll do the talking over the top of this picture, so you can look yourself at the actual facts of these pads. I haven't got anything, Jason, I haven't got enough, I don't owe Jason anything. I could tell him exactly if they're shit, they're shit, if they're good. But I'm literally, all I've done is raced, took them out, measured them, raced, took them out, measured them, I haven't changed, I haven't done anything. And the facts are there. I mean, a set of 250 pound pads could nearly last you pretty much a season. And I've had no brake fades, even brake wear. Touch wood, no problems with the brakes. Just touch them shit. So yeah, they I don't know what else to say about it. I'll put a picture up of the miles total. And you can have a look at the figures yourself. Just want to say how good these pistons are. Really struggled last time with every time I was coming in, within 2 minutes, the brakes would be spinding on big time, like to the point you physically couldn't move the wheel. And if you had a red flag, or you know, maybe some cool down laps because there's a yellow flag out, you'd feel the front would be pushing because the brakes are kind of binding on. But getting none of that now. Literally, I've just come in. It's hot as balls out here, and no binding whatsoever. Thumbs up for the pistons. If you're thinking about buying a set, do it. Oh, let's try that again. Jesus Christ, goddamn phones. So I'll do it like this. Basically, is an overlay of how what I did figures wise. So the first one we done with Brands Hatch, 199 miles. Did a 48.4 on the Indy and a 132.5 on the GP. One test day, 2 qualies, because I had to do a quali Saturday, quali Sunday. That's right. 4 times races, and there's a Padway 0.21. So next to nothing really, and good lap times, quick lap times right now. I mean, if low 48, high 47, I mean, that's licking on. So it's not like, you know, the Padway is because we're going steady. So yeah, that's not too bad. Alton obviously was air endurance, a little bit of steadier pace, like 45s. 1 quali and 4 times 30-minute stints. Did more miles, but same Padway. So I think if you were doing a sprint pace on that, I think you doing like 140s, 141s, I think then your Padway would be slightly higher, but obviously probably less miles over a weekend, so it'd even out. Cadwell was one of our best of the year. 184 miles, did a 33.8, and in the last race, I think race 3, we did consistently 33s. I think I did 5 or 6 33s in a race, so, and a standing start of a 139. So yeah, even towards the end of the weekend, the brakes were still perfect, and I hadn't changed the fluid, so they were still good to go. 0.22 tyre wear, brake wear there as well. So that's still similar. Over the 3 there, still the same. Donington GP, arguably probably our best round the year. 3 podiums. Race 3, we should have been on the podium. Went for, me and Pete swapped the lead, I think 16 times in the race, and then 6 times on the last lap. I went into Melbourne Loop, tried to get underneath him. He already on defensive line. I went a little bit deeper, back wheel come off the floor. I had to release a brake, but even on the last lap, I still had maximum brake. There was no brake wear, no brake fade or nothing, even on the last lap of a crazy race. So we're doing 36s. I did 285 miles on the weekend just gone, so a fair bit more, because I did the test day, sprint quali, endurance quali, 4 races, and a 30-minute stint. So yeah, like I said, even at the last lap of the weekend, the brakes were still perfect, and stupidly enough, again, the same way. You couldn't even write it, honestly. So 894 mile total over the 4 rounds, 0.84mm total wear. So they have got even wear, and I mean, there they are. So like I said, I've kept them in the same orientation of the caliper, same caliper sided. I've wrote on the back, that's the inside one, that's the outside one. I've literally just taken the caliper off, cleaned the caliper, and then put the pads back in, measured the pads, put them back in. So like I say, they're still good to go for another 2 rounds if you wanted, or you can keep them for test days, track days, whatever. If you're going abroad, sort of Spanish testing, you can keep them. Maybe you'll chuck a new setting for racing, but I've literally just used them for everything, and the facts are there for how good they are. I'll put an onboard of the last lap at Donington against Pete, and that'll be, like I said, after doing 4 rounds with them and nearly 1,000 miles of pad wear, and even then you can see the brakes are still stopping well. I could have done with a touch more. I could have done with that tiny bit more sauce going into Melbourne Loop for the last time, but it just shows the brakes were still perfect. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been good actually doing the data across the 4 rounds. I can't see as anything would change. All you're going to have is the quicker you go, you're going to have a bit more tyre, you're going to have a bit more pad wear the quicker you go. But all in all, mega pistons. I've got to be fair, mega pistons. We'll see how they do later on in Spain.
side, and that looked as though